Do you remember what Mom looks like? We've never seen her. Why are we here? In the quiet hum of the old dormitory, as the evening bell cast long shadows across the floor, two girls stood apart from the rest. They were identical, mirror images of each other, sharing a silence that was louder than any of the chatter around them. As the other children lined up, their minds filled with thoughts of home, the twins were bound by a single, haunting question that they whispered to each other every night. Why are we here? Where is our mother? While other girls spoke of weekend visits, birthday cakes, and the warm embrace of a parent's hug, the twins only had each other. They had the shared silence, the unspoken understanding that floated between their identical bunk beds. One of them, the quieter of the two, kept a small, worn notebook hidden beneath her pillow. Inside, on page after page, she drew the face of a woman she had never seen, a face built from dreams, from overheard whispers, from a deep, aching need to know. Each drawing was slightly different. Sometimes the eyes were kind, sometimes the smile was wider, but it was always the same ghost, the same mystery they called Mom. One sun-drenched afternoon, a rumor rippled through the dormitory like a spark. Someone's coming to pick up a child. The words hung in the air, charged with a potent mix of hope and fear. For the twins, it was a thunderclap. They looked at each other, their hands finding their way together, fingers intertwining in a tight, desperate grip. What if it's her? The thought was too big, too bright to be spoken aloud, but it echoed in the space between them. They abandoned their chores, their games, and took up a vigil by the tall iron gate at the end of the long driveway. For hours, they stood there, silent sentinels of hope, their eyes fixed on the road beyond. Every car that slowed, every engine that sputtered near the entrance, sent a jolt through their small bodies. Their hearts would race, a frantic drumbeat against their ribs. Is this it? Is it her? But at each time the car would speed up again, continuing on its way, a passing stranger oblivious to the two small figures holding their breath. And then the gate would swing shut with a heavy final clang, sealing them back inside. It was never for them. That night, the weight of the day was too much to bear. One twin cried, silent tears soaking her pillow in the darkness. The other, her own heart aching, leaned over from a bunk and whispered, her voice a fragile thread in the quiet room. Maybe she's lost. Maybe she's looking for us right now. They reached for each other across the small gap, their hands meeting in the dark, holding on tightly. They finally drifted off to sleep, their shared dream a fragile shield against the world. The years passed like turning pages in a book they couldn't read. The girls grew taller, their faces losing their childish roundness, but the questions remained. They grew heavier with each passing birthday, each holiday spent watching other families reunite through the tall iron gates. The notebook filled with drawings of their mother was now thick and dog-eared, a testament to years of unanswered longing. Then one evening, as the sun set in streaks of orange and purple outside their window, the dorm supervisor, a woman whose face was etched with a gentle kindness, came and sat on the edge of their beds. Her presence was calm, but her eyes held a gravity that stilled the air in the room. There are things you deserve to know, she began, her voice soft. The twins froze, their breath catching in their throats. The supervisor told them a story, not of abandonment, but of impossible choices. Their mother had been very young, she explained. So young, and all alone in the world. She was afraid, overwhelmed, and completely unprepared to care for two newborn babies. She loved you, the supervisor said, her voice dropping to a near whisper, her gaze steady and full of compassion. She loved you more than anything. She just couldn't stay. The twins sat in stunned silence, the story washing over them, rearranging the entire landscape of their lives. The narrative they had built for themselves, the story of being unwanted, of being left behind, began to crumble. After a long moment, one of them, the one who drew the pictures, asked the question that had lived in the darkest corner of her heart. Her voice was barely audible. So, she didn't leave because we were bad. The supervisor reached out, placing a warm hand on her shoulder. She shook her head firmly. No, never because of you. It was never your fault. That night, for the first time in a long time, the familiar ache in their chests felt different. They sat by their usual spot at the window, watching the moon climb into the inky sky. The silence between them was no longer heavy with questions, but filled with a new, fragile peace. "Do you think she still thinks about us?" one asked, her voice soft in the darkness. The other twin turned, and in the pale moonlight, a small, gentle smile touched her lips. "I think she does." They didn't have a photograph to cling to. They didn't have a single shared memory of her touch or her voice. Their past was still a blank page. But as they sat there, side by side, their shoulders touching, they realized what they did have. They had this moment, this understanding, this unbreakable bond. They had each other. And as they looked out at the vast, starry night, they understood that sometimes that is more than enough. Not every child without a parent was unwanted. Sometimes they are the product of a love so deep it had to let go. Thank you for watching.